The stars had never seemed so cold. Across the vast reaches of the galaxy, the usual hum of cosmic life had grown eerily quiet. Communication arrays that once buzzed with chatter fell silent. Trading routes that connected hundreds of civilizations suddenly lay abandoned, ghostly in their emptiness. Something was coming, something unknown, and it brought with it a shadow that no one had seen before. It began at the edges of explored space, where the most distant alien colonies had reported strange signals and flickering lights in the void. At first, those reports were dismissed as sensor malfunctions or cosmic storms, but then entire star systems went dark. Fleets that had once patrolled the borders vanished without a trace. Worlds once thriving now showed no signs of life. Panic spread quickly. The great empires of the galaxy scrambled to respond. War councils convened in the glittering halls of crystalline capitals and deep underground bunkers alike. Some races chose to seal their borders, shutting out all traffic. Others evacuated their most vulnerable colonies, fleeing inward to their homeworlds. Many abandoned outposts were left to fall to the unknown. Humanity watched from its home system, Earth, and its scattered colonies with growing unease. Unlike many alien species, humans had no vast ancient fleets or millions of years of interstellar diplomacy to rely on. Their fleets were smaller, their technology still catching up. But humans had something else. Something that would define them in the days to come. Determination. The first news came through the United Earth Space Command's listening posts. A deep space probe, sent decades earlier to monitor unexplored sectors, had captured images of star systems being consumed, worlds disintegrating under strange, unexplainable forces. The images shocked the galaxy. An ancient cosmic predator, some speculated. A force so alien it defied all known science. The unknown moved with terrifying speed and ruthlessness. Where it passed, nothing lived. Most species ran, but humanity did not. At the command center orbiting Mars, Admiral Elena Reyes stood before a holographic star map dotted with blinking lights. Each light marked a system lost, a civilization in retreat. Her jaw clenched. Around her, officers debated, many pushing for evacuation and surrender. But Elena refused. "We will hold the line," she said firmly. "We cannot let fear decide our future." Her voice carried the weight of conviction. The room fell silent. Behind the screens, millions of humans on Earth and across the colonies watched live broadcasts of the council meetings. The news was grim, but Elena's words sparked something deeper. Hope. The following days became a whirlwind of preparation. Shipyards that usually built cargo freighters and research vessels switched to war production. Scientists raced to understand the enemy's technology, even as few knew exactly what they faced. Soldiers trained harder, engineers designed new defenses, and diplomats reached out to alien allies, some of whom had already fled or gone dark. In the city of New Shanghai, on Earth's surface, Mei Lin adjusted the controls of a prototype, drone designed to detect enemy movements. The room was crowded with engineers and technicians, all exhausted but driven. Mei glanced at the news feed. Fleets disappearing, entire star systems lost. She whispered to herself, "We have to stop this. We have to fight." Thousands of light years away, on a mining colony orbiting a gas giant, Commander Raj Patel prepared his crew for deployment. His soldiers were a mix of veterans and fresh recruits, many terrified but determined. Raj looked out at the swirling storms of the giant planet below, then at his people. "We are the line that will not break," he said. "They may be unknown, but we are not afraid." As days turned into weeks, small skirmishes broke out at the edge of human-controlled space. The unknown force struck swiftly, almost without warning. Ships were torn apart by weapons no one recognized, and strange, shifting clouds of energy swept through battlefields. But human pilots adapted quickly, using every tactic every ounce, of skill to survive. Even when allies fled, humanity stood firm. Across the galaxy, other species whispered stories of the humans who refused to run, who stared into the void and held their ground. Their courage became a beacon, a spark lighting the fires of resistance. On Mars' orbit, Admiral Reyes received a transmission from an alien delegate, a race known for their cautious nature who rarely trusted outsiders. "We will watch closely," the delegate said. "Humanity's stand may yet save us all." The shadow was still growing. The unknown force was relentless. But humanity had made its choice. They would not run. They would hold the line, and they would fight back. The vast conference. Chamber aboard the orbital station Eclipse was filled with leaders from human space. The walls shimmered with holographic star maps, displays of fleet deployments, and live feeds from battlefronts. Outside the thick glass windows, the cold blackness of space stretched endlessly, a constant reminder of the enemy lurking beyond. Admiral. Elena Reyes stood at the center of the room, commanding attention with her calm but determined presence. Around her, generals, scientists, and diplomats spoke in hurried tones, debating their next moves. Many were exhausted, some weary from months of relentless pressure. Fear hung heavy in the air. Across the galaxy, other species had sealed their borders or fled inward. Ships once proud and mighty now drifted aimlessly or scrambled to retreat. Panic was infectious, and hope was fragile. But here on Eclipse, humanity was making a different choice. Admiral Reyes raised her hand, calling the room to silence. Our neighbors are running. Our foes are relentless. But we are not like them. We have something they do not: resilience, creativity, and the will to stand. She paced slowly, eyes scanning every face. The unknown force is unlike anything we have faced. But we are not helpless. Our scientists are decoding their tactics, and our engineers are building weapons and defenses specifically to counter them. We will hold our ground. A murmur of agreement spread through the room. Captain Darius Kwan, a veteran of several space battles, leaned forward. Our ships are outnumbered. Our technology is not the most advanced in the galaxy. Why do we think we can succeed where others failed? Elena met his gaze. Because we do not fight like others. We fight with heart, with determination, and with a willingness to adapt. The unknown force may be powerful, but it is predictable in its own way. We will learn it. We will outthink it. Dr. Lena Ortiz, lead scientist on the enemy technology project, stepped forward. We have made progress in understanding their weapons and communication patterns. Their attacks rely on rapid, coordinated strikes. If we can disrupt their communication, we can weaken their effectiveness. Then we build our strategy around that, said Elena. We do not retreat. We form a line. We fight. As the meeting continued, orders were sent across the human-controlled systems. Shipyards switched to war production. Colonies converted factories into research labs and training grounds. Every citizen felt the urgency. Every hand was needed. On Earth, in the bustling city of New Cairo, families gathered around communication terminals. Messages from the front lines were broadcast daily. Stories of bravery, of unlikely victories, of human crews refusing to give up, inspired millions. In a small training center on the lunar colony, Lieutenant Mara Jensen drilled recruits. They want us to be afraid, to run, but we don't. We stand, we fight. Remember that every time you're out there. Her voice was firm but kind. The young trainees listened, some wide-eyed, others nodding with resolve. Fear was there, but it was met with something stronger. Meanwhile, across the solar system on a research station orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Lena Ortiz studied newly captured fragments of enemy technology. The devices pulsed with strange energy patterns, unlike any known physics. She worked alongside alien scientists who had come reluctantly to support humanity's cause, sharing knowledge in the face of a common threat. "We are all learning," she told her team. "The enemy's power comes from unity and speed. We must be faster and smarter." As preparations advanced, a message arrived from the Galactic Council, a gathering of alien leaders from multiple species. It was cautious, diplomatic, a request for humanity to lead a coalition, to stand as the beacon of resistance. At first, some human leaders hesitated. The coalition meant sharing secrets, risking trust with species who had not always been allies. But Admiral Reyes saw the bigger picture. "We cannot fight this alone," she told the council. "But we can show the galaxy that standing firm is possible. If we unite, others will follow." The decision was made. Humanity would lead the fight. In the weeks that followed, emissaries from various species arrived at Eclipse. Some came reluctantly, others with hope. Old rivalries were set aside, replaced by a shared goal: survival. In one quiet moment, Elena stood at the observation deck, watching the stars beyond. The unknown threat still loomed, a shadow on the horizon. But humanity had chosen its path. To stand. To fight. To hold the line. A broadcast went out across all human colonies and allied worlds, a simple message from Admiral Reyes. "When others run, we stand. When others hide, we fight. We are humanity, and we will not fall." The galaxy listened, and for the first time in a long time, hope sparked anew. The barren world of Epsilon Prime had never meant much to anyone, a cold, rocky planet on the fringe of human space with thin atmosphere and little natural life. But now, it was humanity's front line, a place where hope and desperation collided. The massive construction fleets had arrived months ago, transforming the planet's surface into a sprawling fortress. Huge arrays of solar collectors, missile batteries, and shield generators rose like metal forests across the landscape. Underground bunkers stretched for miles beneath the rocky crust, housing soldiers, scientists, and engineers. Colonists who had once called this world insignificant now worked tirelessly, their lives bound to the fortress. Some were engineers, designing new weapon systems, others soldiers drilling day and night, preparing for battles that loomed ever closer. Commander Raj Patel walked along one of the vast corridors carved beneath the surface. His boots echoed softly on the steel floor as he moved through the hum of machinery and low conversations. Despite the relentless work, his crew was ready. Fear had not vanished, but it was now mixed with determination. Raj stopped at a viewing window overlooking a training field. Fresh recruits practiced combat drills beneath hovering drones that simulated enemy attacks. Some faltered, others stood their ground with fierce resolve. "This is where we make our stand," Raj thought. "If we falter here, everything falls." At the surface control tower, Lieutenant Mara Jensen monitored the defense grid. The system was complex. A network of sensors, energy barriers, and automated turrets designed to react instantly to threats. The unknown force had struck with surprise before, but humans had learned to anticipate attacks. "Status report," Mara said over comms. "Power level stable," replied an engineer. "Missile batteries are fully operational. Shields at 87% efficiency." Mara nodded. "Good, keep it that way." In the science labs deep beneath the fortress, Dr. Lena Ortiz and her team worked around the clock. They studied samples of the enemy's technology, strange alloys that seemed to shift and adapt under stress, and weapons that fired bursts of energy unlike anything in human arsenals. "This material almost seems alive," Lena explained to her assistant. "It's self-repairing, changing shape to avoid damage." The challenges were immense, but so was human ingenuity. Engineers developed new alloys, inspired by the enemy's technology but adapted for human use. Scientists created new sensors able to detect subtle shifts in energy, giving early warning of enemy approach. Outside, Massive starships loomed in orbit, their sleek forms bristling with weapons. Human pilots trained in virtual simulations, practicing maneuvers that combined speed, surprise, and coordination. One of those pilots was Kai Nakamura, a young ace known for his calm under fire. He sat in the cockpit of a fighter simulator, sweat on his brow, as waves of enemy ships closed in on the virtual fortress. "Come on," he muttered. "Not today." With a quick burst of speed, Kai led his squadron in a daring strike, weaving through enemy fire and breaking their lines. When the simulation ended, his instructors nodded in approval. "Good work," said Commander Raj, who had come to observe. "We'll need every pilot like you." As weeks passed, the fortress grew stronger. Human forces established communication. Lines with nearby allied species, sharing intelligence and coordinating defense plans. Old mistrusts faded, replaced by a common purpose. Still, challenges remained. Supplies ran low, the harsh environment tested everyone's endurance, and the unknown force never stopped probing for weaknesses. The pressure was constant. One night, as Raj stood on the surface looking up at the stars, a faint glow flickered on the horizon. His communicator buzzed urgently. "Commander, sensors detect an incoming fleet. Unknown ships, fast and numerous." Raj's heart tightened. "Prepare for battle. This is it." The soldiers on Epsilon Prime braced themselves. The fortress they had built, the bonds they had formed, the sacrifices they had made, all came down to this moment. As the enemy ships burst through the planet's upper atmosphere, lasers and missiles lit the sky. Human defenses sprang to life, a symphony of light and sound in the cold darkness. Kai launched into the fray, weaving through enemy fire. Mara coordinated the defense systems, adjusting shields and firing sequences. Dr. Ortiz monitored enemy patterns, sending rapid updates to command. The battle was fierce and chaotic. The unknown force struck with precision and speed, but human grit and innovation held firm. Every soldier fought with a fierce determination. They were the line that would not break. When dawn broke over Epsilon Prime, the skies were scarred, but the fortress still stood. Commander Raj exhaled, exhaustion mixing with relief. "We held the line." On the bridge of the orbital station, Admiral Elena Reyes watched the battle data stream in. Humanity's bastion was alive, a beacon against the gathering darkness. But she knew this was only the beginning. The war for the galaxy's future had truly begun. The void beyond Epsilon Prime crackled with tension. After weeks of relentless construction, preparation, and training, humanity's bastion faced its first true test. The unknown force was coming. And this time it was not probing, it was attacking. At the command center, deep beneath the planet's surface, alarms blared. Red lights bathed the room as sensor screens flickered, showing dozens of fast-moving ships appearing just beyond the defense perimeter. "Enemy fleet detected," Lieutenant Mara Jensen announced, her voice steady despite the growing pressure. "Estimated numbers. At least 3 times our strength." Commander Raj Patel stood at the front, his gaze fixed on the holographic display. "Prepare all defenses," he ordered. "Squadrons launch at my command." In orbit, Kai Nakamura's fighter squadron prepared to scramble. The familiar hum of engines powered up, filling the hangar with an electric charge. Kai exchanged a quick glance with his wingmen, tension mixed with determination. "We don't back down," Kai said, voice steady in the comm channel. "Let's show them what humanity's made of." As the enemy ships surged forward like a tidal wave, the first volleys of missiles and energy blasts streaked across space. The battle erupted in a chaotic ballet of light and destruction. Human turrets fired with precision, targeting enemy ships before they could reach the planet's atmosphere. Down on the surface, shield generators roared to life, their shimmering, barriers pulsating as they absorbed wave after wave of attacks. Engineers frantically repaired damage as fast as it appeared. Despite the onslaught, human pilots pressed forward, Kai led daring strikes into the enemy formation, dodging blasts and coordinating with his squadron to disable key vessels. But the unknown force was unlike anything they had ever faced. Its ships moved with eerie coordination, shifting formations instantly. Their weapons emitted bursts of energy that disrupted sensors and communications. Enemy ships deploying electronic interference, Mara reported. Our sensors are lagging. Commander Raj clenched his jaw. Switch to manual targeting. Trust your instincts. In the chaos, small pockets of soldiers on the surface engaged enemy boarding parties that slipped through weakened defenses. Hand-to-hand combat erupted in the shadowed corridors of the fortress. Every soldier fought with the desperate courage of those defending their home. Back in the command center, Dr. Lena Ortiz monitored the enemy's energy signatures. Their weapons adapt after each strike, she explained. We're in a learning race. We have no choice, Raj replied. Keep analyzing. Feed every bit of data to the pilots and gunners. Hours passed, like minutes. The battle raged relentlessly. Losses mounted on both sides, but humanity's line did not break. Kai's fighter was hit. Sparks flew across his cockpit as alarms screamed. With quick reflexes, he maneuvered toward a nearby support ship for repairs. His heart pounded, but the fight was far from over. We hold, Kai radioed. We hold no matter what. Meanwhile, on the surface, Lieutenant Mara led a squad to reinforce a damaged turret station. They raced through corridors, dodging debris and enemy fire. With steady hands, Mara recalibrated the defenses just in time to repel another attack. Wave. When the first light of dawn pierced the planet's thin atmosphere, the enemy began to retreat. Exhausted but unbroken, humanity's forces counted their losses and tended their wounded. On the bridge of the orbital station, Admiral Elena Reyes watched the aftermath unfold. The battle was fierce, brutal, and costly. But humanity had done the impossible. We held the line, she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. Other species listened closely, their fear tempered by a growing respect for humanity's resolve. In the quiet moments after the fight, Commander Raj gathered his officers. This was only the first strike, he said. The enemy will come again and stronger. But today, we proved that the unknown can be met with courage. Dr. Lena Ortiz added, We learned more about their tactics. Our scientists are already developing countermeasures. Kai, limping from his damaged cockpit, smiled grimly. We're ready. The fortress on Epsilon Prime had survived its first true test. It was no longer just a line in space. It was a symbol, a stubborn, unyielding stand against the darkness, and as the stars slowly shifted overhead, humanity prepared for the battles yet to come. In the dim glow of the underground laboratory, Dr. Lena Ortiz leaned over the holographic display, her eyes scanning the intricate energy patterns of the enemy technology. The battle had ended days ago, but the war was far from over. Humanity's survival now depended on understanding the very nature of their foe. The enemy's weapons pulsed with an eerie light, almost alive, shifting and adapting in ways that defied known physics. Lena's team had worked tirelessly to analyze captured debris and signals intercepted during combat. This isn't just advanced technology, she told her team. It's biological and mechanical, fused in ways we've never seen before. This unknown is something more than a fleet. It's a living force. Her assistant, a specialist in xenobiology, nodded thoughtfully. It's like a nomadic swarm, consuming and adapting as it moves. The ships aren't just vessels. They're part of a collective organism. Lena tapped the display, zooming in on a cluster of energy cells within a wrecked enemy ship. If we can find a way to disrupt this collective energy, we might be able to weaken their coordination. Meanwhile, on Epsilon Prime's surface, Commander Raj Patel reviewed the latest battle reports. Human forces had gained valuable ground by holding their line, but the enemy's relentless advance showed no sign of stopping. "We need an edge," Raj said, staring out at the cold, rocky landscape. "Understanding them is our only hope." Back. In the laboratory, Lena's breakthrough came when a new scan revealed a pattern in the enemy's energy pulses, a form of communication encoded in fluctuating frequencies. It was subtle, hidden beneath the chaos of battle signals. "We've found their language," Lena announced with excitement. "It's a complex system of energy bursts. If we can decode and interfere with it, we could disrupt their fleet-wide coordination." Admiral Elena Reyes listened to the report with growing hope. For months, humanity had faced the unknown with only courage and resilience. Now, science offered a chance to fight back in a new way. "We'll focus our efforts on jamming there." "Signals," Elena ordered. "Coordinate with our engineers and pilots. This could turn the tide." Pilots like Kai Nakamura practiced new tactics, relying on bursts of interference to confuse enemy formations. Sensors and jammers developed by human and allied engineers began to be deployed on ships and in orbital stations. Despite the small victories, the unknown force struck hard elsewhere in the galaxy. Fleets of terrified aliens still fled before it, and entire worlds were lost. But news of humanity's growing resistance spread, rekindling hope. In a remote alien outpost, an elder delegate sent a cautious message to Admiral Reyes. "Your courage and discoveries inspire others. We will join your fight, not as subjects, but as partners." This marked the beginning of a fragile but vital alliance. On Epsilon Prime, Commander Raj stood before his troops. "We are not alone. Together with our new allies, with knowledge and courage, we will face the unknown and stand victorious." At night, Lena worked late into the hours, refining the interference devices. The lab was filled with quiet determination, interrupted only by the hum of machines and the occasional murmur of collaboration. "This isn't just about weapons," Lena mused to a colleague. "It's about understanding what we face, respecting the enemy's complexity but refusing to be defeated." In the following weeks, new weapons were tested in simulations and small skirmishes. Jamming pulses threw enemy fleets into confusion. Coordinated strikes took advantage of these disruptions, damaging key vessels and forcing retreats. Kai led one such mission, flying through chaotic bursts of interference. His squadron struck with precision, scattering enemy ships. After the battle, Kai reported breathlessly, "They're not invincible. We can break their rhythm." Back on the command station, Admiral Reyes allowed herself a moment of quiet pride. Humanity's fight was no longer a desperate holdout. It was a calculated resistance with growing strength. But she knew this was only the beginning. The unknown force was vast and relentless. It would adapt, evolve, and return. Still, humanity had found its weapon, knowledge, and with knowledge, hope. The once quiet halls of the Galactic Council were alive with cautious energy. Delegates from dozens of species filled the chamber, their voices echoing as they debated the growing threat. Many still distrusted humanity, wary of their rapid rise as leaders in the fight against the unknown. Others feared the enemy too deeply to take risks. Admiral Elena Reyes stood at the center of the chamber, her posture calm but commanding. This was not just a battle for territory anymore. It was a battle for trust, for unity, and for the very survival of the galaxy. "We cannot win alone," Elena addressed the assembly. "The unknown moves swiftly, adapting to each species' weaknesses. Only by combining our strengths can we hope to stand." A murmur of agreement spread through the room, but hesitation remained. An elder from the Sarathi species, known for their wisdom and longevity, stepped forward. "We have long held to isolation. To trust another species is dangerous. But the threat you describe is unlike any we have faced." Elena nodded. "We have suffered losses, yes. But we have also learned much. We have discovered their communication patterns, their weaknesses. With your help, we can build a defense no single race could manage. The Sarathi delegate studied her for a moment, then spoke again. Very well. We will join your coalition, but as equals. One by one, other species followed suit. Some brought fleets, others shared intelligence or technology. Old rivalries softened, replaced by shared purpose. The fragile alliance was born. Back on Epsilon Prime, Commander Raj, Patel received word of the coalition's formation. He gathered his officers. This is a turning point, he said. We are no longer isolated. We have allies who will fight alongside us. Lieutenant Mara Jensen looked out over the training grounds, where human and alien soldiers drilled, side by side. It won't be easy, she said quietly. Different languages, customs, strategies. We'll have to learn fast. Kai Nakamura prepared for a joint mission with Sarathi pilots. In the hangar, he exchanged nods with his new allies. Let's show them what unity looks like. In the laboratories, Dr. Lena Ortiz coordinated research teams from multiple species. The exchange of knowledge accelerated progress. Alien scientists shared insights into energy manipulation and biology, while humans contributed their rapid innovation and tactical experience. Together, they worked on refining the jamming technology, developing new weapons that combined alien energy sources with human engineering. Despite the hope, the unknown force remained relentless. Skirmishes continued on multiple fronts, with casualties mounting. The enemy adapted quickly, sometimes countering the new tactics before they could be fully deployed. During one fierce battle near the star system Vega, Kai's squadron fought alongside alien pilots in a desperate defense. The sky was alive with streaks of light and explosions. Ships from many species weaved through the chaos, covering each other's backs. Kai found himself flying alongside a Sarathi pilot named Vela, whose calm precision balanced his aggressive style. Together, they led a daring attack on an enemy command ship, disrupting its coordination and forcing a retreat. Afterward, Vela turned to Kai. You fight well. Together we are stronger. Kai nodded, smiling. We'll need that strength. The war isn't over. On Epsilon Prime, Commander, Raj received reports of a new enemy tactic, a wave of smaller, faster ships designed to overwhelm defenses with sheer numbers. The coalition's leaders gathered urgently to plan. Admiral Reyes addressed the meeting. We must adapt again. Our technology and unity give us an edge, but the unknown is evolving. We can't afford to be complacent. The Alliance agreed. To increase joint training, share real-time intelligence, and deploy mixed-species strike teams to disrupt enemy supply lines. As preparations intensified, Elena took a moment to reflect. The path ahead was dangerous and uncertain, but for the first time, the galaxy stood together, united by courage, by hope, and by the refusal to run. In the quiet of her quarters, she sent a message to every human colony and allied world. Today, we are more than survivors. We are a force. Together we will hold the line. Together we will fight back. Together we will win. The fragile alliance had been forged in fire and fear. Now it would be tested in battle. The coalition fleet gathered near the Orion Rift, a jagged tear in space that marked a critical choke point. Ships of every shape and size, from sleek human fighters to towering Sarathi cruisers, formed a crescent of light against the darkness. The unknown force was massing on the other side, preparing for what would be one of the largest battles in the galaxy's history. Admiral Elena Reyes stood on the command bridge of the flagship Resolute, the hum of engines and the pulse of energy, weapons filling the air. Her fingers tapped rhythmically on the console as final orders were issued and fleet formations locked into place. Today, she said quietly over the comm system, we face the enemy not as scattered survivors, but as a united front. Every species here has sacrificed. Every life counts. We will hold the line, we will fight, and we will reclaim the future. Commander Raj Patel, commanding ground forces on Epsilon Prime, received the fleet's signal and prepared his troops. Hold your positions. Support the fleet at all costs. The moment we have trained for is here. Kai Nakamura checked his gear in the fighter bay, feeling the familiar rush of adrenaline. Around him, pilots from several species exchanged nods and quick words, their different voices blending into a chorus of determination. In the lab, Dr. Lena Ortiz monitored the latest sensor readings. The enemy fleet was unlike anything she'd seen, massive, coordinated, and relentless. But their communications were still vulnerable to disruption. "We will deploy the jamming arrays now," she told the fleet's comm officer. "This will give our fighters the edge they need." As the enemy fleet burst through the rift, the battle erupted with thunderous intensity. Explosions bloomed in the void, laser fire streaked through the darkness, and ships maneuvered in deadly dances of attack and defense. Kai's squadron darted through enemy fire, weaving in close to strike vital targets. Side by side with alien pilots, he unleashed precise bursts of energy that tore through enemy hulls. The jamming arrays pulsed across the battlefield, disrupting the enemy's coordination and slowing their deadly strikes. On the surface of Epsilon Prime, ground forces engaged enemy landing parties. Soldiers fought fiercely to protect critical infrastructure, pushing back wave after wave with desperate courage. But the unknown force was relentless. Their flagship, a massive living vessel of shifting metal and energy, closed in on the coalition's center. Its weapons fired devastating blasts, threatening to break the line. Admiral Reyes made a quick decision. "Kai, you and your squadron are clear for a strike mission. Target the flagship's energy core." Kai's heart raced. "Understood, Admiral. We're on it." Navigating through enemy fire and debris, Kai led the charge. His squadron followed. Closely, lasers and missiles blazing. As they reached the flagship, Lena's jamming devices surged, opening a brief window of vulnerability. With synchronized precision, the squadron unleashed their payload. Explosions rocked the massive vessel as its core destabilized. The flagship shuddered, its systems failing one by one. On the command bridge, cheers erupted. The enemy fleet faltered, confusion rippling through their ranks. Commander Raj seized the moment. "All units, push forward! Break their formations! We hold the line! And we advance!" The battle turned. The coalition's united strength pushed back the unknown force, reclaiming lost space and forcing a retreat. In the aftermath, ships limped back to repair docks. Soldiers tended wounds and counted losses. The galaxy held its breath. Admiral Reyes addressed the coalition. "Today, we did not just survive. We struck a blow for every world, every family. This war is far from over, but the tide has turned. We stand as one, stronger and more determined." Kai, exhausted but triumphant, looked out at the stars. "We proved we can fight them, and we will keep fighting." Dr. Lena Ortiz smiled quietly as she reviewed data from the battle. "Their weaknesses are clearer now. We can win this." On Epsilon Prime, Commander Raj gathered his troops. "We held the line. We pushed back the darkness. This is only the beginning, but it is proof. Humanity and its allies will not fall." The galaxy was watching. And for the first time in long months, hope burned brighter than fear. The quiet after the storm was unlike anything anyone had experienced in years. Across the galaxy, the coalition's forces regrouped, repairing ships, rebuilding shattered outposts, and honoring those lost in the brutal conflict. For the first time since the invasion began, the unknown force had been pushed back, not just held, but broken. On Epsilon Prime, the fortress that had been humanity's shield now stood as a beacon. Commander Raj Patel walked among the soldiers, their faces worn but alive with renewed hope. "We did it," a young recruit whispered, eyes shining with disbelief. Raj smiled, though he knew the cost had been heavy. We held the line. We fought, back when others fled. And we won because we stood together. In the flagship Resolute, Admiral Elena Reyes addressed the coalition's leaders via a galaxy-wide transmission. This victory belongs to every species that refused to surrender. We learned, adapted, and united. The unknown thought us weak, but we proved them wrong. Across distant worlds, communities celebrated cautiously, aware the war was not yet fully over but confident in the strength they had built. In the scientific labs, Dr. Lena Ortiz and her team studied the remnants of the enemy's technology, uncovering secrets that would help safeguard the galaxy for generations. She looked out the window at the stars, knowing that knowledge was now humanity's greatest weapon. Kai Nakamura prepared for a final patrol alongside his allied pilots. The battles had forged unbreakable bonds among them, a family formed not by blood but by shared purpose and sacrifice. As his fighter soared into the vastness of space, Kai thought of everything they had endured, the fear, the loss, the relentless fight, and the future they were carving together. The unknown force had underestimated humanity's spirit, their courage, their resilience, and their unwillingness to back down. Now, the galaxy knew it too. Humanity had held the line, and humanity would fight back, always. The dawn of victory was just the beginning.